Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Better Horses. This is going to be a 30-minute program dedicated to the education and advancement of our horse knowledge,
where we bring you the best in equine trainers, nutritionists, veterinarians, and equine events from all over the country to help us become the best horsemen and horsewomen that we can be.
Hi, I'm Ed Adams.
And I'm Susie Arbo.
And welcome to Better Horses. And we begin with professional horse trainer Phil Haugen. Be your best horsemanship. Phil's going to demonstrate and explain training through horse understanding. And today we welcome new professional horse trainer Mark Jenkins from Oklahoma City. Mark has an amazing ability to read horses and relay the information in an easy to understand way for the rider.
We are delighted to bring back Laurel Walker Denton from Skull Valley, Arizona. She is an AQHA, NRCHA judge, trained and shown horses to great success in working cow horse, reining, and ranch riding.
So before you saddle up, stay with us for another exciting episode of Better Horses. And it's the only horse show on your local broadcast television station.
And also airing on RFD TV and the Cowboy Channel.
We'll be right back. The greatest equestrian event in Kansas is returning for its 26th year. It's called Equifest of Kansas, an all-breed horse fair coming to Salina, Kansas beginning Thursday, March 16th through Sunday, March 19th. World-renowned clinicians including Kurt Pate, Buster McLaury, Patrick Sullivan, and Sally Batten. The most popular competitions in ranch rodeo, breakaway roping, draft races, and the driving derby. An extraordinary display of equestrian and musical talent. Wall-to-wall shopping. Check out equifestofks.com.
Hey everybody, I'm Phil Haugen with Phil Haugen Horsemanship. We are here at Sitter Downs Arena in Lone Jack, Missouri, and we just finished up with the Advanced Horsemanship and Cow Horse Clinic. I had Jess Morgan come up and do the clinic with me, and he worked on the cow horse part of it and just did an outstanding job. You know, we had a great group here this weekend. Lots of talent, lots of good horses. It was great facilities. Kelly Sitter, this is just a perfect facility for this kind of an event. And so we just got done doing some cow work. Yesterday, on the first day, we worked mainly on horsemanship principles and we worked horses on the flag. Today we did all cow work. Everybody has worked a cow and did 20 to 30 minutes on the boxing, taking the cow down the fence. Jess did an outstanding job of explaining and helping people understand how to break it down into pieces. You know, bit by bit is the way you learn something, and bit by bit is the way your horse learns something. When I say bit, I mean piece by piece. And so today it was really fun to watch because as the trainers got better, you could see the advancement in the horses. And that's the way it works. Anytime we improve, anytime we get better, all of a sudden our horses get better. We talked a lot about building confidence, building understanding, you know, understanding that switch to where you bring your horse from the reacting side of their brain to the thinking side of their brain. It's really, really important, especially in any event, where there's going to be speed, quickness. You know, that creates anxiety in a horse. Well, that's going to turn into a reactive response at times. You know, and so we always have to be working on that feel, that timing, that balance that helps give that horse the signal before the signal, meaning the signal we give with our bodies, which is our feel, before we pick up our bridle reins. Because if your bridle reins, if this is the first signal you send your horse, you're always going to be ahead of your horse. You're always going to be ahead of your horse. And it's just like I always use the example, if I put somebody at one end of the arena and I told them, when I say go, you run, and when I say stop, you stop, and when I say turn, you turn. Well, even somebody that understands the game and speaks English, when I say stop or I say turn, they can't stop and turn because they have no warning. But if I use that same example and I say, when I say go, you're going to run as hard as you can. When I say okay, stop, or okay, turn, then they can get ready to turn. One of the big things we talked about was stopping and turning is not difficult if you have your horse ready to stop and ready to turn. The preparation to get them ready, that's the signal before the signal. That's helping them know what's coming. And that's what's so important in any discipline. This weekend we were working horses on a cow, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's barrels, roping, cow horse work, whatever. The horsemanship side of it is helping them be prepared for it. So thanks for joining us this week. We appreciate you. And we appreciate Better Horses for all they do for us. Thanks, everybody.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back right after these messages.
We're here for the hardworking, the resilient. We're for the people who measure their days by what needs to get done, not by hours. Where kids learn responsibility at a young age and generations work side by side. Where work doesn't pause for holidays or bad weather. It just gets harder. Where value and hard work means more than the clothes you wear. We're Kleinschmidt's Western Store, Higginsville, Missouri.
Hay is not for horses. They deserve Stanley Premium Western Forage. There's no better place in the country to grow forage than Idaho, and Stanley is one of the country's largest producers. From pellets, cubes, and chopped forage in bags to compressed in 3-tie bales, Stanley cultivates the premium forage types horse owners demand. Because your horse needs hay, but he deserves Stanley Premium Western Forage.
The greatest equestrian event in Kansas is returning for its 26th year. It's called Equifest of Kansas, an all-breed horse fair coming to Salina, Kansas beginning Thursday, March 16th through Sunday, March 19th. World-renowned clinicians including Kurt Pate, Buster McLaury, Patrick Sullivan, and Sally Batten. The most popular competitions in ranch rodeo, breakaway roping, draft races, and the driving derby. An extraordinary display of equestrian and musical talent. Wall-to-wall shopping. Check out equifestofks.com.
Welcome to Mark Jenkins Horsemanship, right here on Better Horses. Guys, so we're working with this 16-year-old thoroughbred. He's off the track. He has spent some time in the, I think the hunter jumper pen, but there's two main issues that the owners are having with him, and one is he does not stand tight. So we're going to work with him on that. And then on top of that, he doesn't like to get in a trailer. So we're going to also work with him on that and let him know it's not a scary place. We're going to do the best we can to help him out as much as we possibly can. There's a couple of steps that I want to run through with him before I actually tie him up. And the reason for that is, if you guys watch me at all, I'm big on preparing horses for what's coming next. And what I see a lot when it comes to trailer loading, when it comes to tying horses up or turning left and right or stopping, doesn't matter. The horse has not been actually taught to give to pressure. So I'm going to show you a couple of things that, big deep breath. I'm going to show you a couple of things that I do before I actually go up there and try to tie him up, which we'll get to here in a minute. The number one thing is I want to make sure that he's going to be soft laterally. If he's not soft laterally, he can't give to pressure laterally, then I've got to work on that for a while. And that'll be in another video as well. But for this one right here, I'm just going to go ahead and see if I can't get him to flex left and right. So when I ask for this lateral flex, it's not necessarily can he just move his head all the way around. What it is can he actually try? Right there, he tried. I'll bump him again. There we go. There he tried. And can he stay here? This is going to help me determine whether or not he's ready to be tied up. Because if he can give to that pressure, I'm going to ask him again, and they're little bumps. Don't just sit there and pull him. If he can give to that pressure, and when that pressure goes away, I'm going to ask him again, he stays for just a few seconds. That tells me that he's probably going to be okay with steady pressure. And of course, steady pressure is when it's consistent and if he's tied up. So right here, even though right there, good job. My fingers are still on it, on the lead rope, but he's staying. Right there, he bumped against it, no big deal. But that's just one step. And I want to make sure to be able to do it on both sides as well. So of course I want to make sure that he can do it on both sides and have that softness on both sides. And like I said before, I want him to be able to come over here, try. There we go, almost, not step on top of me, but try. And I need him to be able to stay over here. If he needs to itch his leg, that's fine. There we go. He gave me a big try right there. And he didn't slingshot back or up. So that tells me he might be ready for me to go tie him up and see how that works. One of the other things that I want to make sure before I go and actually tie him up, because it's going to be an exercise that I do while he's tied up, I need to make sure that he's okay with it right here as well. And that is yielding the hindquarters with some pressure and have some tension on his face. So I'm just going to come in here with my hand, slide it up. This is kind of a blocker right here, and I'm just going to ask. There we go. Good job. And all I'm looking for right here is, can you yield away from pressure? Because when I go to tie him up, a lot of times that pressure is going to get him excited or get him anxious and put him into that fight or flight reaction. And then he has he may have a tendency to sit back and pull. So I'm going to ask him to move his hindquarters back over the other direction again. The rib cage is actually the hardest part to get softened up. Most horses will get stiff between their withers and their tail. And so by asking that horse to cross over with that inside hind going across over the outside hind, that really makes a big difference. But the rib cage is usually always the hardest part to get soft. You can get head and neck, you can get shoulder, and you can get hindquarter. But that rib cage is the big part right there. So when I come in here and I pick my hand up so as a blocker and bend him at the head and neck, and then see those hindquarters, that hind foot cross, and there we go, good job. That's when I know I kind of jumped in front there, but that's when I know that I got softness through here. And that's when you know you have true softness, when you get those rib cage softened up. Okay, so we're going to tie this guy up right now. And what I use is a blocker. It's a tie ring, okay? And it works real well, and I'm going to explain exactly how that works. So I'm going to make sure that he obviously can stand right next to whatever I'm going to tie him to. Quietly. If he's in a panic right here or something, that's not the right time to try to tie him up. So all this does is about 16 to 18 inches from his chin to where you're going to tie him. You're just going to slide that through, run that blocker up, or that peg, and again 16, 18 inches from under his chin to where he's tied. And what this does is it allows him, and of course I didn't want to tie him up unless I felt like he was in a good state of mind. But if he did decide, which you may see here in a minute, but if he did decide to pull, he's going to have a little leeway. There is tension right there, but not enough to make him hard tied. So as we increase the tension and the resistance on here, which we can do by just simply wrapping this over and over, that'll just add more and more resistance. But we want to make sure to do it when he's ready for it. The other big thing that you want to make sure that you do not have is any knots in your lead rope. Okay, you don't want your horse to sit back all the way to the point where it's at the very end and then he's stuck. But that's a big thing. Make sure there's no knots, and also make sure that if you step back and away from him, you don't leave that lead rope on the ground to where he might be able to paw at it and get a foot hooked over it, or anything else that could grab hold of that and stop the whole process of what we're trying to do. So when I first tie up a horse that's hard to tie or does not like to be tied, there's a couple of things I want to do. One is I want to make sure that he's standing quiet and everything's good, but the very next step that I want to do is I want to make sure to put a little bit of pressure on him. So I'm just going to ask him to yield over that way and yield back over this way, and we've got a bunch of other stuff that we need to do too, but this is the way I'd end this session. So I'm just going to, and I'm wondering if he hits that, the end of that lead rope, and that's where we end up with a problem. But he's doing so great, and it's just fingertips. I'm not doing much more than that. This guy's doing an amazing job to stand here quiet, tied up. So I think I'm going to let him stand here probably another 10, maybe 15 minutes tied up and see how he does. So we'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching Mark Jenkins Horsemanship right here on Better Horses.
Closed captioning has been brought to you by Lina Weaver
and Flat Tail Ranch.
What do you get when you bring together one of the biggest names in veterinary medicine with one of the most caring and committed teams of horse health experts in the industry? You get a vaccine portfolio known for its quality and safety, a pharmaceutical line you can rely on to help manage pain and support performance. You get the products, programs, and people of Merck Animal Health.
We're here for the hardworking, the resilient. We're for the people who measure their days by what needs to get done, not by hours. Where kids learn responsibility at a young age and generations work side by side. Where work doesn't pause for holidays or bad weather. It just gets harder. Where value and hard work means more than the clothes you wear. We're Kleinschmidt's Western Store, Higginsville, Missouri.
It's time to go with United Mosquito and Fly Control's premier fly system for fly control in your barn, providing relief for horses from the stress of fighting flies, and also makes the barn more pleasant for everyone in the barn. Easy, effective, and safe. With United Mosquito and Fly Control, we provide a full service. You as the barn owner don't have to do anything. We go everywhere and take care of everything with our friendly fast service. Call today at 913-558-3814 or email Paul at unitedmosquito.com.
Hi, I'm Laurel Denton, and we're here today at the Bayou Bar Ranch, and I want to talk to you today about the drag, which you're going to have in VRH trail and ranch riding trail. The drag can be intimidating for a lot of people, and it really does not need to be. First of all, I'm going to talk about pattern placement, log placement, when you walk up to the log for the drag. When you're getting ready to approach the drag and you're in the class and the log isn't where it's supposed to be, the pattern says you're supposed to ride up here and pick up the rope. Well, what I'm going to tell you is that you need to be efficient. Don't worry exactly what the pattern says. You're going to ride up wherever you need to be, pick up your rope, okay, and then get back over in position to drag your drag. So don't worry about those added steps. That's all part of it because you never know where that log's going to be. All right, so before we get into the coils and how to drag and everything else, I'm going to tell you that anytime that you have a nylon catch rope, as it's called, on a drag and it's tied off at this end, you can't coil it from the end. It won't coil. You'll have a complete nasty mess. So if you ride up there and this is all coiled, you know, messy, and you don't know what to do, and you have to get a coil, what you're going to have to do is you're going to throw that rope out in front of you and start coiling from the middle. You start coiling from the middle and coil to the end. It's an impossibility to coil a rope from the end like you would on a regular rope that's not tied off at the end. So here you are, you've got your nice coils, you're ready to go. You've got romal reins. You can do one of two things. You can take your romal and put it on the other side, which is something that I usually tell my non-pros to do, then that way the romal is out of your way. I don't do it, it doesn't bother me, it's a little bit more efficient for me to let it go, but a lot of times with the non-pros, that's what I do. So you've got your coils. If you notice, the rope is next to my leg, right? So here's the rope, it's right next, so I have to turn it. I'm gonna have to turn it and put the coils in my hand here in order for the dally. You've taken the rope off of the deal, here's your rope, you got it, you have to turn it, okay? You put your coils in this hand. So when you go to dally, right, so you need a nice length, so you always go counterclockwise or towards your horse's neck and around, okay? That is a dally. So then you're going to walk off. I always make sure to tell everybody to watch your rope, watch your log, see where your log is. It's kind of like pulling a gooseneck trailer because that log does not follow where you want to go. So when you're in a class, try to get the log back where you want it to be. So here I am, this far away from my standard where I need to hang up my rope, but that's okay because my log is back in good position. I actually was talking and drug it a little bit too far. So we'll go around again and I'll show you that I can put that log right back where I found it. And your horse is going to be here. That's okay. Back up a step, release your dallies, try to coil your rope back up, side pass over, and then go ahead with the rest of your class. Don't worry about being at that same place or where the pattern placement is, just be efficient. Now, so I'm going to do this one more time. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to throw my rope out. I'm going to coil my rope. Now, you notice when you practice this at home, look at my rein hand. So as I'm coiling my rope, my rein hand is very quiet, right? Okay, I'm not doing this with my rein hand, which can be confusing for the horse. Okay, so I've coiled my rope. I'm going to turn it around, take my dallies, and now I'm going to trot around, but watch my rein hand. Okay, my rein hand is down, it's pointing where I want to go. I'm not up here. Okay, I'm relaxed, watching my log. My rein hand is relaxed. Whoa. Release your dallies. Try to, so I got to do this with my, coil your rope and hang it back up. Always be aware when you come back over and hang your rope up where the rest of your rope is, where your horse's legs are, so you're not entangled. So the one thing that I want you to take away from what we've talked about today is don't be worried about the drag. Just be efficient, practice at home, practice handling the rope, and most of all, practice keeping your rein hand quiet. I'm Laurel Denton. I hope this helps you get through this difficult drag situation.
What do you get when you bring together one of the biggest names in veterinary medicine with one of the most caring and committed teams of horse health experts in the industry? You get a vaccine portfolio known for its quality and safety, a pharmaceutical line you can rely on to help manage pain and support performance. you get the products, programs, and people of Merck Animal Health.
We're here for the hardworking, the resilient. We're for the people who measure their days by what needs to get done, not by hours. Where kids learn responsibility at a young age and generations work side by side. Where work doesn't pause for holidays or bad weather. It just gets harder. Where value and hard work means more than the clothes you wear. We're Kleinschmidt's Western Store, Higginsville, Missouri.
The greatest equestrian event in Kansas is returning for its 26th year. It's called Equifest of Kansas, an all-breed horse fair coming to Salina, Kansas beginning Thursday, March 16th through Sunday, March 19th. World-renowned clinicians including Kurt Pate, Buster McLaury, Patrick Sullivan, and Sally Batten. The most popular competitions in ranch rodeo, breakaway roping, draft races, and the driving derby. An extraordinary display of equestrian and musical talent. Wall-to-wall shopping, check out equifestofks.com.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Victoria Koch of KV Dressage out at Redfern Ranch in Platte City, and I'm coming to you today for a quick tip, and that is to ride your line and ride accurately. If you find yourself trying to achieve the 20-meter circle and it looks more like a 24-meter oval, that tells you your horse is falling through that outside shoulder. You need more outside aids. If it turns into an 18-meter circle, use a little more inside leg to get that horse to the outside rein. If you're trying to ride straight across the diagonal and you're looking a little wobbly, get that horse between both legs. That is your tip of the day. Thank you so much for tuning in to Better Horses. I hope you tune in next time.
Hey, thank you for watching Better Horses. And if you've missed any of our shows, check us out at betterhorses.com where you can see all our episodes.
You can also follow us on Facebook or listen to any of our podcasts right from your mobile device.
And don't forget our newspaper coming out 5 times a year.
You're gonna love it.